Today, this evening, is an historic evening in the history of the Highfields Centre, of the Highfields Community Association, and for the local community. The association have been fighting for independence for 13 years. The asset transfer, the transfer of this building, of its staff, took place last year, finally, after 13 years of struggle, on December the 1st. And we're here tonight to mark that occasion. It's been a struggle. It's been very difficult. But in the spirit of the struggles that are taking place as we speak on the streets of Cairo, of Suez, of Alexandria, in Egypt, and in Tunisia, and in Yemen as we speak, the events that are taking place today in Highfields have a resonance with the rest of the world.
The Highfields Centre, as it now is, opened in 1974. And I think I'm probably one of the very few here tonight who actually remembers that opening. I'd actually been elected as a city councillor for the Spinney Hill ward in 1973. So I've been here right from the start. I was here and I've seen it in all the intervening years, and I've seen the way in which it has been right at the heart of the local community throughout that very long period of time. And I've seen how it's been served by some excellent staff. Some of them are here tonight, and I had a chance to talk with some of them earlier, and it's good to see them here joining this celebration, and also some brilliant volunteers. Because it has really been those volunteers who've made it such an important part of the community and made it so relevant and so much a part of the service to the local community. But, and this is the big difference, and of course this is what we're celebrating tonight, is its independence. Because I think it's right that something that has given such service to the community should be not just a part of the community, but governed by the community. That they should shape it, they should have control over it, they should shape its future. There's a lot of talk at the moment about the big society. There's a lot of talk about the way in which communities should be engaged. So I think we've got a good record of that here in Leicester, and after a long struggle, we've here, I think, got something to provide a beacon and a model for how it should be done in our city. So I do wish it well. I look back with very considerable gratitude for the service it's given in the past, but I wish it well in the future. But I would just close on a serious note, because yes, community governance does matter. Yes, the big society is, of course, one of the few aspects of the present government's policies that I have some considerable sympathy for. But, and it is a big but, if the big society is to prosper, if community governance is to have a reality, it must have support. It must have backing. The big society doesn't exist in a vacuum. It exists as community governance here, I hope, will prosper. It exists with support, with resources, with practical help, with a climate, a culture that gives the support that is needed from the local council, in our case the City Council, from the other public agencies, and there are many of them who serve the Highfields area. They must all work together to make community governance, the independence of this centre, something that sees it continue to prosper, sees it continue to be at the heart of the community, sees it continue to serve the community in the future, as it has done in the past. Thank you very much.
I left at a time where the future of the association and its role and the role of this centre was in some doubt, in a context in which a Condem coalition had been elected into the local city council, rapidly setting about taking a knife to the voluntary sector. Sounds familiar. So there was tremendous struggle at that point, but it is a testament to the commitment, the tenacity, the perseverance, and the sheer talent of the staff here, of the students, of the association, the volunteers, which Sir Peter Salisbury just spoke about. But we came through that and insisted upon the vision of this centre. The vision which really attracted me to become involved as a volunteer some 10 years before that, in 1994, when I heard Priya, we all know how inspirational a figure he can be, address a local Residents and Tenants Association meeting in Highfields, of which I was a member at that time, about the pressures which the centre were under then to be merged again, its services rationalised, and the further which he spoke about ensuring that good quality public services, educational, leisure opportunities would be delivered to the people who really needed that. And that ought to be the goal of public servants in ensuring that. But also a vision of the centre which was about trying to bring people together, different sections of the community. It wasn't organised around a particular creed, a particular ethnic group, a particular class interest. It was about trying to bring all people together and build and forge connections. Forge a sense of citizenship here. Very, very powerful and moving vision. And to do that really requires bringing that together in one centre. It's not to organise people's learning and leisure along the lines of the bureaucratic silos, the departments of education or youth work or this or that. It's to bring that together in a way in which people actually access and live these needs, access their education and leisure, which is coming together in a particular place in which they're comfortable, and the centre had all of that. In none of the years that I've been here, any kind of offensive graffiti on the outside of the walls. Complete respect for this institution. It was genuinely owned by the people here, and I think it's right and proper that after a long period of struggle, the association representing the users of this group have got significant control over it and how it can be deployed to defend and ensure that people get the services they need. So good luck, Highfields Community Association, and all the very best for the future. Thank you.
As someone who has been affiliated to this centre for a number of years, as somebody who was unemployed back in 1986, during the victims of the Thatcher days, I entered the centre and came in to do an access course, and it was progression after progression after progression on that, and it gave me the lifetime opportunity as an adult, as a mature student, to be able to come back into education, and it was this centre that offered me that opportunity. So I'm one of the products of coming through the system as somebody who's lived in Highfields, went into school in the Highfields area, and then represented this ward as an elected member, went on to graduate, and then eventually came on in the system. But with all those journeys and the struggles that we've had, and Adam has eloquently mentioned and picked up a lot of those issues, as chair of the Community Association, Adam was, prior to myself, for 10 years, and I held the position also for 10 years. I think I'd just like to pay tribute to a number of people that were associated with this centre and are no longer with us today. And that is somebody by the name of Bina Balunda, who was the chair when I was a young person when I came to this centre. And then there was Frank Mackenzie, who was also affiliated with this centre and is now holding a very senior position as a senator in Antigua and Barbuda. I'd also like to pay tribute, and I know Sir Peter Salisbury here from Leicester South. Before him, we had Jim Marshall, who, through the days, whenever we were in need, I thought it was important to mention him today, to be able to say that as a Member of Parliament, he was also always there with us. And somebody who worked here at this centre who passed away, Nick Lee Overy, a very dedicated hard worker. This is the first Independence Day, and I hope, Priya, you can afford this for throughout the year. But I'm sure with the public sector cutbacks, you know, the realities are, it would dawn in relation to how you then continue to maximise the income. As a centre in the heart of Highfields, a multicultural a secular community centre, we've always strived on that, and everybody has been welcome here. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak.
Input has been at two very critical times. I have been an elected member in the past. In fact, I was a county councillor and I was here on the management committee. I think my association has been somewhere along the lines of 20 odd years with the centre. The first time I was asked and involved to intervene was when the centre faced a problem whereby there was a merger taking place. And I believe in those days all political parties, along with the county council bureaucracy, were concerned with one thing, and that was to get rid of the Highfields Community Centre. And I think in isolation, I was the only elected member that stood at full council, along with the support of the people of Highfields, and made a very clear and unequivocal statement. I said that if the county council is there to ensure that there is democracy and it represents the people, then the wishes of the people of Highfields will prevail. As a result of that and the opposition that was mounted, there was a High Court judicial review, and of course it was a tremendous success, and the Highfields Centre remained in the way that it was. And since then, a lot of effort has gone in to build this centre into a centre of excellence that you see here today. The second time I was asked to intervene again was when some of the problems arose with regards to the local authority that should, in all rights, be helping to ensure that the services that we are trying to deliver from here in Highfields are maintained and sustained for the benefit of the people. But the strategy that we put into effect and the policies that we followed and the commitment of the people that helped in that, people like Abdul Osman and Shafiq Chowdhury and Hanif, who is sitting there, and Mohammed Dawood, and all the other elected members who, if I haven't mentioned them, and the support that they gave, we have today sustained what is our Independence Day. Today, the 28th of January, 2011. Along with each and every one of you, you're all special because you've all had a very critical involvement with the history of this centre, and that's why you're here. So therefore, we are celebrating this, our Independence Day, with you to give you the assurance that what you set in place has been consolidated. And our job now is to ensure that we maintain that and to improve the services that are being delivered to the people of Highfields. And on that, as the chair of the Board of Governors, I give you my pledge. That is precisely what we will do. I commend each and every one of you who have been associated with this centre. I commend the dedication of the staff that has continued to deliver services in very difficult circumstances in many cases. And above all, bear in mind that we will continue to deliver that with the utmost regard to the people of Highfields. Thank you very much.
I continued to be involved as a supporter of the work of this centre, and from time to time was actually commissioned to do some bits of research independently in order to help guide the thinking of the City Council in relation to the centre and its development. My experience of this centre, and particularly of the relationship of the council to it, has been one of the most obscene kinds of bullying, one where the interests of the people who use this place, who see it as being responsive to their needs, who see it as representing their hopes and aspirations, all of that was subjugated to the capricious and cynical designs, not only of elected members, but even worse, of certain officers within the council. And it was as if they were having some kind of a holy war, not only with the people of Highfields whose needs this place served, but with that man, Priya. Many of them declared that they hated his guts. Many of them saw him as a royal pain in the butt and determined that their role was to break him down and make sure he does not win in the struggle to liberate this place from the capricious control. I conducted some research and wrote a report on this place and its position within the community development agenda and community development provision, community education provision within the city. And so issues of resources, issues of governance, issues of purpose got enmeshed in all sorts of personal vendettas and political scams and stratagems that were ill becoming of elected representatives and particularly of officers who were appointed to serve the needs of the people. So it is a tribute to all those who stayed with this fight, all those who continued to use the center in the most disciplined manner and demonstrate that it is meeting their needs as they define them, as distinct from the pigeonhole that the authorities wanted to squeeze them into. Mr. David Cameron has invented some notion of the big society. And I ask the question, where the hell has the fellow been for the last 40 years or so? Why has he been so blind not to have seen the big society in operation all around the country through the efforts and activities of people like yourselves and of the workers in this place? There is much to be written about this place, not only about its struggle to get to what we're celebrating today, but about how even when those in this directorate and that directorate or this service and the other were straining to understand the responsibility that they have to satisfy the needs of all the people in all the diversity of this city, this place was demonstrating precisely that responsiveness, precisely that capacity to sit with people, identify their needs, plan with them services that would be most appropriate to those needs, and find ways of funding that even when, for malicious reasons, they were being starved of funds by the city authorities. So I want to pay tribute to you all, to all those members of the association over the years, and the chairs who are here, present and past, and above all, unilaterally, I want to award Priya the Victoria Cross for all the war scars he bears. Thank you.
Right, on that point, I'd like to ask the recipient of that medal to come up and say a few words. Let's have a round of applause, please. Head of Centre, come on.
To know, I'm not going to be saying too much tonight because you've got a panel that's one of the most powerful range of speakers we've had up on this stage, and their comments with the specially commissioned DVD that's going to be on very shortly will tell us all and remind us about the story of our long journey. So I want to limit myself to very few comments. The first of that is an apology. Apology to the people who couldn't come here this evening, whom we couldn't fit into this hall. The second thing I want to say is a big thank you to all of you. Much has been said about the work that I have conducted here, but none of that would have been possible without you. As the staff of the centre, throughout the 30 years I've been here nearly, and the Community Association in particular. They've been the sucker that have made it possible for me to go out and make the case for resources, and ultimately, as we have done over the last 13 years, for the transfer of this building back to what Peter was saying in 74 when it opened, was something that was governed and managed by the Community Association. So thank you, because without your support, your involvement from near and far, we would not have got to this point. And that leads me on to the point that Abdul was making about the fact that, you know, we've got this event and he hoped that we've got the funds to resource it. Well, just to draw an analogy, when we commenced the building works for this new centre, the 5 million project, the firm that was appointed to take on that work funded the buffet that was provided, and that was a mere fraction of the money they were awarded for the contract. Tonight, we're having to fund that ourselves. So it's not at that level of expenditure, but you're not going to be diddled out of a nice spread. The serious point on this is about, yes, we have now got our political independence, and reference has been made to all of the struggles globally. Struggles for political independence from my own home country back in Sri Lanka in 1948, through to much more recent gaining of political independence, has not resulted in the freedom of those people. And I've talked on other occasions about what some of those struggles are about. Suffice to say, without economic independence, we will not have a future. And given the kinds of constraints we're going to be working under in the coming years, then it's really important we get to grips with that. And not just for this centre, because if we work on the basis of we've got political independence, we're going to be striving for economic independence, and all of our partner agencies, particularly in this locality, are facing severe difficulties, and we're not there, then that's not going to help us. Because this is not about this centre alone making provision for the disadvantaged communities of Highfield. It's all of our neighbouring agencies that we've got to work with. And I'm particularly glad to see a number of them here today. So this is just the start of our next series of challenges. And I hope, like you've been with us over the last 13 years, you'll be with us as we go forward. Thank you once again for coming, and please, I hope you're going to enjoy the next part of this evening as well. Thank you.
One of the key things we need to do is that we need to be witness to the times that we live in. It's a privilege to work here because of the ethos that we are about recording, we're about documenting. Too many struggles have been lost because we didn't document. And without documenting, without taking the photographs, without the videos, we can't learn. We've got an amazing resource here now that's been put together, that we can show those children, those young people, the future leaders, those who are coming through, what happened before. That is so important to the history of the struggle. We have to have continuity. Right, I'd like to invite a special guest, okay? He's going to come and do a longer set a little bit later. We are lucky and privileged to have Lennox Carty, Doug Poet, coming up on stage. Big round of applause, Lennox Carty.
It gives me a great pleasure to be here this evening, you know. When we talk about struggle don't come easy, you know. And the people who front the struggle got to have energy, taking the knockbacks to come forward again, taking the knockbacks to keep getting up and keep moving forward. So I just want to say, put your hands together and give all the people who's been behind this struggle for years a big round of applause to show their appreciation. You know? When we talk about struggle, you know, it puts me in mind back in the days of the American independence, the civil rights movement. Rosa Parks was an ordinary woman, everyday mother going to work to earn some money for her family. She was pushed to the limit. She was disrespected, and by her actions and movement, helped to change the laws that kept people, black people, down in America. In Montgomery, Alabama, in 1955, the civil rights movement, it came alive. Rosa Parks, a mother like you and my ma, she come out of the dark like a shining star. She challenged the system, she challenged the law. She mass up segregation and the color bar. The day she decided not to give up her seat because of swollen ankles and her swollen feet. Them dash her off the bus, them put her on the street. But when she get up, man, she blaze up her heat. Dr. King, he crusade and march, leading from the front like a burning torch. He said to boycott the system, this decision will be harsh. Respect your neighbors no matter what the cause. Don't curse an argument with your boss. The struggle is too precious, it cannot be lost. Rosa Parks became an instant star. Her name traveled wide, her name traveled far because she challenged the system, she challenged the law. She massed up segregation and the color bar. Enough respect to Rosa Parks.
Many people who couldn't make it today, and I've been asked to read some short messages of support. We've got a message from David Wilson from De Montfort University, wishing us all the success for the future. We've got a message from Dave Tanton from the Government of East Midlands office, going, I want to wish you and the centre the very best for the future. It has been a long journey, but I hope that it's been worth it for the people of Highfields and the wider area. It was great to be part of it. You have a facility and a resource that should allow you to go from strength to strength. Take care and please wish all the staff and the board all the best for you. We've got a message from Michael Piner from a DTA saying congratulations and hoping it's going to be a successful evening. We've got a message from Andy Keeling, who works for someone called Leicester City Council, that's it. You may have heard of them. We were close once, but it didn't work out. I hope you all have a great time and the evening is a wonderful success. We've got a message from Graham Beaumont from Sport England, again one of our funders here, particularly the sports hall, the gym facilities, fitness suite that you see here. I'd like to take the opportunity to add my congratulations to the HCA and your partners on your tenacity, commitment and sheer hard work to achieve community governance. Another message from Sport England, yeah, we quite like them, so we're going to read another message. You will be in my thoughts, that's sweet, isn't it? You'll be in my thoughts. And I'm sure this evening, he's thinking of us this evening, will be a wonderful celebration of what the HCA has achieved. And that is certainly worth celebrating. All the struggles you have endured over many years on behalf of the Highfields community has eventually been worth it. I'm sure you're not going to sit back on your laurels, though I'm sure you don't need reminding. Independence brings with it many challenges to meet and overcome. So please accept my congratulations for what you've achieved to date and best wishes for a bright and independent future. And just a few more messages. Steve Weiler, Chief Exec Director of the DTA. What fabulous news. If I can get to the event in January, I would very much like to. And congratulations on a successful outcome after a struggle that's lasted 12 years, I believe. All the very best. And last but not least, a message from Jackie Dunn from Leicester University. Congratulations on your achievement, and I wish you a very successful and enjoyable evening. I'm going to close off this evening with a poem. As well as being an arts coordinator, I work here I'm a writer, I'm a poet. I don't really do this as much as I used to do, but every so often, staff here coax me out of retirement to do some poetry. This is a track that I was commissioned to write for the centre, actually, by the DTA back in September, and was performed at a conference in Derby that took place. This is called A Ballad to the Small Massive. We need to go where it all began, to the beginning, to the middle, and to where we are right now. Right now, the present, the decimal point, and the digits separating us in 2001, 1991, 1981, 1971, and so on, and so on. On this stage, in Highfields, we will begin again. In the shadows of those who have departed, in the shadows of the callous and misguided. We will begin again in the tradition of the diggers and the ranters who dug a path to freedom in their battle to be free men and women, who recanted their faith to find faith and deeds and never be defeated. I draw a canvas and paint these pictures of those who defied the scriptures to claim a better place. We follow in the tracks of our families who came to this soil as minions of empire, far flung from their lands and drawn to mother country, to a life that wasn't comfy, but fleeing misery that promised less and less. Oh, bless the Marshall Plan and uneven economic development. I meant to write a ballad, but ended scripting odes to abandonment. So they came to the East Midlands, like many other places, blacks and browns with hope written on their faces. Seeing places empty, closing churches, they saw plenty of opportunity to use assets, but this was just a facet of their thinking. If white society don't employ us, we'll open up our own factories, not watch our brothers, sisters sinking. The innovators, these first pioneers were plenty, but many fell by the wayside on the way to this position, to end up as fodder for those that could exploit them. Where are we now? Where is the nature of this juncture? Is everything postmodernist, or are we clinging to old structures? Got no answers, just observations from this lowly vegetation, grassroots under soil that's being trampled by the power's constant elevation. Many myths get propagated and some never die. Some may eat the merry fruits of success while the problems multiply. Focus, group, myopia, no vision is implied. Build us up and pull us down in the blinking of an eye. This is no accident of history or mistaken thinking. When you hurt the hand that feeds you, you must expect your punishment and vengeance. Our movement needs to think where it's moving, who and what it aligns itself with. There are no easy answers, no easy pill to give. When did we become part of what we hated? Driven to knock on the door because our appetite needs sating. In the shadow of those who have departed, in the shadows of the callous and misguided, we must choose. In the shadows who have departed, in the shadows of the callous and misguided, we must choose.
Before I do that, can we show our appreciation for the person who's conducted the evening's proceedings? So, big round of applause, please, for Sakib Deshmukh. Okay, we've got a special bit of business to conduct over the next few minutes, and I'd like to call on stage for the first part of that Sir Peter Soulsby and Adam Edwards.
We've heard a lot of names this evening, people who've made this independence celebration possible. We've also heard some names of people who tried to get in the way of it. But the HCA wanted to recognise two particular names. Two particular names who provided inspirational leadership that have brought them and us through to this celebration this evening. And of course, you can guess from the introduction whose name they want to remember first. And they want to do it by naming a part of this building after somebody who has provided that inspirational leadership. And now normally, when you're doing a naming, you stand round the plaque and the person whose name it's going to be named after unveils the plaque. Well, that clearly isn't going to be practical this evening, so I have the plaque here. Or at least I don't actually have the plaque. I have a small version of it. And it's the one that's going to the person whose name is going to go on the particular room. Because from now on, the community lounge here is going to be the Edwards Community Lounge. And it's really a great privilege for me to be able to present to Adam, as that renaming takes place, this plaque that recognises his work as chair of the HCA from the years 1994 to 2004, and on your behalf and on behalf of the HCA, to congratulate him and to thank him for all that he's done to make the HCA successful and to make this evening possible. Thank you very much indeed. Adam.
Thank you. What a wonderful gesture. As Priya himself has always often really attracted me to this centre and the association is his commitment to a good old left-wing concept of solidarity, and it's in that ethos that I would gratefully accept this reward, and very humbly thank you very much for this recognition.
We have the second half of this special business to conduct, and I'd like to call up on stage Gus John and Abdul Osman.
Like Peter, and not large enough to be placed in the Osman Sports Hall. But until such time that a plaque of a suitable size is erected there, let it be known that from this time forth, the sports hall will be known as the Osman Sports Hall. So, my brother, on behalf of us all, thank you very much for your signal contribution, and for me it was an enormous pleasure working with you.
I think it's a bit of a policy we have in the City Council that you always name things after people die. I think it's a tribute, and congratulate Adam for the hard work that he's done, and thank you for this. It's a great honour, achievement, but I don't know whether I deserve it, but thank you once again. I'm lost for words.
And now I have one final thing to do. I have no scissors, there is no ribbon, there's no veil, but the zenith of all of these efforts is our ability this night to name this center the Highfields Center. There will be a plaque erected suitably at the front of the building to mark this fact and this day. But I want to congratulate everybody, all the users of the center, all members over the years of the community association, all the part-time and full-time staff who have worked here, and all those in the community far and wide, and many people in many places far from this city who have over the years supported the development of the center and particularly your historic struggle. I name the center the Highfield Center.
One more guest, okay, that I'm going to ask to come up shortly and make some closing remarks. We have Keith Vaz MP here. I'd like you to put your hands together, make a welcome to Keith Vaz MP for closing remarks.
Nothing could keep me away from this very special and very historic event. Of course, we all remember the history of this incredible centre. And what is very special about the Highfields Centre is the way in which different communities are able to work together for the common good. And that is, in a real sense, represented by the people who are here today. It's been a long struggle for independence, but it's been a struggle that has been achieved because of the hard work and dedication of so many people. I'm delighted that you've chosen to name rooms after people who are still alive. Often we have to wait till they passed away before we recognise what they have contributed. But both Adam and Abdul have of course made, as chairs of this wonderful organisation, a huge contribution to ensure that it remains a resource for local people. I'm very proud of what the City Council has done, but it is also right that you should have your independence. So in a real sense, today has become your 4th of July, your Independence Day. So well done to all of you. My final thought is this. At the end of the day, and Gus John is here, and I think it's terrific. Gus, lovely to see you here. I know you're a Londoner, but your presence here actually helps us to celebrate the history of this important building. And Piara Thermothrum, many of you don't know that I was actually taught mathematics when I was at school by Piara's father. So we go back, not hundreds of years, as you would like us to think, but certainly a few decades. I have to tell you, maths was not my best subject. But when I first arrived in Leicester 25 years ago, it was wonderful to see Mr. Thermothrum's son here. My final thought is this. At the end of the day, when we have all gone, and at some stage we all have to move on, what do we leave for the next generation? What do we leave for our children and our grandchildren? We leave these buildings. Buildings that only exist because of the commitment of local people. And when they say of our community, what did you do in the 30 years that you established yourself in your new country? We point to these kinds of buildings and say, this is what we do. Not buildings of bricks and mortar, but buildings of real people. And from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank all the members of the committee and all those who've run this centre and all those who will run this centre for the magnificent work that they've done.
Right, we're going to be closing shortly, but I thought we'd get everyone up and get you have a glass in front of you and we can have a toast. So if you could all stand up, please. Grab the water, juice, Coke. I said it very carefully, okay? And could we have a toast, please, to the centre and its future and all who sail in it. Thank you very much. Enjoy the dinner.